Hi, this is Welcome to Self, and I'm your host, Dr. Hayley D. Quinn, the anti-burnout business coach. I'm a speaker, author, former clinical psychologist, and late identified ADHDer. Welcome to Self is a podcast for business owners like you who want success, but not at the cost of your well-being. This is about transforming self and transforming business. I'll be here to remind you that you're human first, and as well as being a business owner, you have different roles in your life that need your attention. And to manage those well, you need to take care of yourself in the best way possible. Here you'll learn about practices that'll help you navigate not just your business, but your non-work life as well. And you'll realise that you're not alone in the ways you struggle. You'll have your curiosity piqued on various topics as I chat with wonderful guests and bring you solo bite-sized episodes. I'm here for service-based business owners and entrepreneurs like you to help you increase your self-care and compassion, change your relationship with yourself and your business, and elevate your business to a new level so you can live the full and meaningful life you desire. This is a place of nourishment, growth, and helpful information. A place where you can learn ways to assist you and your business to thrive. We'll talk all things mindset, strategy, and well-being, and I'm so excited you're here. If you haven't already, go and hit subscribe so you don't miss an episode. So let's get started. Hi, and welcome back to another episode. This one is for those of you who are done with burnout and ready to thrive on your own terms. And for anyone who's ever felt like they're the problem. Maybe you've been feeling exhausted, unmotivated, emotionally stretched too thin. And instead of seeing those responses as signs that something outside of you might be off, you've turned inward, blaming yourself for not being resilient enough, not productive enough, or not doing enough. Well, let's just pause right there for a moment and take a breath. Because you're not broken. You're having a normal response to a deeply unsustainable system. We live in a world that's built around patriarchal, capitalist, and ableist systems. Systems that reward overwork, hustle, perfectionism, and constant output. Systems that were never designed with your well-being in mind. They don't value softness, rest, or difference, and often punish or dismiss neurodivergence, disability, or simply being human. So when you feel like you're falling short, it's most likely not because you're doing something wrong. It's more likely because the system you're trying to survive in wasn't built to support you in the first place. This leads me to the big lie that so many of us have internalized, the fix yourself narrative. You've probably heard it in some form. Just do more mindset work, learn to be more resilient, wake up earlier, be more disciplined. It goes on and on and on. But do you know what? You don't need fixing. You need support. You need to work and live in a way that suits who you are. And you need to stop carrying the responsibility for things that were never yours to hold. Yes, you're responsible for understanding yourself and for showing up for yourself, for making decisions that align with your values, for healing where you can, and caring for your needs. But you are not responsible for systemic oppression, for unrealistic expectations placed on you by others, for economic instability, for racism, ableism, sexism, or any of the other structural forces that shape our lives. So when you find yourself wondering, why can't I just keep up? I invite you to take a breath and ask yourself instead, what am I trying to keep up with? And who told me that was the standard? The goal isn't to give up and not care. It's to reclaim your voice, your time, your energy, and your agency. That allows you to validate your experience and reclaim your power. Because once you stop fighting yourself, you can start questioning the rules and maybe even rewriting them. So here's your gentle, reflective question for today. Where have you been blaming yourself for something that might actually be a systemic issue? Let that question sit with you. Perhaps journal on it. Talk it through with someone who feels safe. And remember, the more you recognize what's not yours to carry, the lighter you'll feel, the freer you become. You're not broken. You're brilliantly human, navigating a world that needs to do better. Go well and go gently, my friend. And if this episode resonated, share it with someone else who could also do with this reminder. You never know who's waiting to hear that they're not alone. And as always, feel free to drop into my inbox and let me know how you're going. I'll see you again next week. Bye. Thanks for sharing this time with me today. I hope it's been helpful and supportive. If there's been something in this episode that you have found helpful, I encourage you to share it with your business besties so they can benefit too. Shares, ratings and reviews really help to increase awareness and reach of the podcast, meaning more people can benefit from the information. I really appreciate you taking the time. If you'd like to know about the ways we can work together, check out my website at drhayleydquinn.com. I'll pop the link in the show notes, and you can also join my mailing list from there and be kept up to date with all that is happening. I do need to say, because legal stuff, this podcast is solely for the purpose of education and entertainment. This podcast is not intended as a substitute for individual advice or advice of health professionals or other qualified professionals. Okay, now we've got that formal stuff out of the way. I love hearing from listeners, so don't be shy. Reach out and let me know your thoughts on the episode or what else you'd like to hear about. I wish you well in your relationship with yourself and your business, and may you go well and go gently. And remember, if you thrive, your business will too.